Well, the best story is not good to tell, right? It's always always something on off record. So we have so many stories, so many years, many games, championships, great moments, some tough moments too. Especially last couple of years before he came back with the issue of his contract. He couldn't play 1 year, and then the injury. Well, actually, the injury the year before. So, but most of them are great memories, and of course, a great time to.
What kind of guy is he?
He's he's a very deep guy. He's a pretty very smart. He's an emotional guy. He's driving. Even if he learned to mild his temper and to he's mature. He's a grown man. He has a family, but still is a emotionally driven man. Right? He's always moving from his heart. And then of course he's a great family guy. He's a very good teammate. Very good help for the coaches as well, because he's a great basketball mind and good guy, excellent guy to ever.
What about on the court, Coach? I mean, we see him, but from your assessment as a coach, the type of player that he is and what he brings to Toronto now.
Probably brings to this team something which they never had, right? The type of player who never was in this team is basically a great passer. Somebody who sees the next play a split second before most of the opponent and then most of the teammates as well, and most of the coaches sometimes, right? And he's a very good shooter. He developed an excellent. He's very reliable from the triple line, even from. Even on corner three, right? Even I would say even more beyond the arc than in the corners. He's a solid defender. He's not a super athlete, but he knows how to move his feet, where to put his hands. He's tough. It's really difficult to get an advantage if you want to go strong at him. Very solid defensive rebounder. So I would say a very versatile player, probably who's right now in his best. I see him really in basically the peak of his career in terms of maturity, in terms of ability to fit into a team, to do what the team needs to win.
That's a bit odd, though, right? I mean, he's 34. You're talking about him being at his peak. Why?
Because this guy was started as a chubby, even fat kid when he was a kid, right? And then he he grew as a professional. He developed great skills, which were there, but he didn't really know how to use them. And he's been kind of a late bloomer. I mean, you can say that since he was not like Pau was at 20, he was already one of the top players in Europe. He kind of took his best of him later, and this is the reason why I think he has a lot to give yet. And physically, he's in a great shape. He takes care of him. He's kind of sometimes I joke with him, you are a Taliban in terms of healthy food and take care of yourself. And then, I mean, sometimes you just enjoy a little bit of paella, right? But he's a great pro. I mean, he knows. That's the reason why he's in this great shape at 34.
What was your initial reaction when he saw, or when the trade happened? What was your hearing that Marc Gasol was coming to the team that you were part of?
Well, that they had an extra load probably to help him to get into the team, to get up to date with what we do, how we want things get done. And no, I was happy, of course.
Yes.
And he was happy. He texted me right away, like he was enthusiastic about that.
He's been cleared through the.
Yeah, he just got cleared, and he'll be on the active list tonight.
How about starting?
No, he'll play. He'll play. He's not going to start. We're going to stay with our guys, and we'll get him in there when it's time to get him in there.
Is that
kind of a prevailing philosophy around keeping units together, especially if they have worked together for this long?
I think there's a great rhythm with that group, right? And there's no sense messing that up at this point. We're just reiterating what I've said the last couple days is that we need to evaluate this thing first of all and see what it looks like, and we'll try a bunch of different combinations tonight. It seems like I said, I usually go in there with some ideas of how it's going to play out, and it rarely does. So we'll see combinations that I haven't thought of yet tonight, I'm sure. So once it goes up, we'll start playing it and get him out there, give him a run, see how he does, see what it looks like, see what the matchups look like, who they have out there, et cetera, and go from there.
You're still pretty light on the wings without you can't get Malcolm in for various contractual reasons. How do you see that rotation shaking out, and who do you need to maybe see stuff from?
Well, we tend to get and play small, right? Which it helps us in a couple things. It helps us first of all because it gives us a lot of ball handling. It gives us a lot of penetration. It gives us a lot of pick and roll guys. It supposedly should hurt us size wise at the other end at times, but Kyle and Fred both defend much bigger than they actually are, right? They're so tough and strong and physical and fight that it doesn't seem to give us as many problems as you think it might. So, the wings end up being maybe they're 6-foot point guards that end up playing the wing for us, right? But they play bigger than that at the defensive end.
Nick, how do you pair the playbook knowing that Marc you're going to put him out there?
Yeah.
I mean, there's things that everybody runs, but terminology. And then on the defensive end, the same thing. How do you kind of piece that together?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a harder thing. He's been around a lot, Jonesy, so he knows a lot of things, and we just go through our coverages. They're not a million miles away from things he's done. So maybe there's a terminology thing here and there, something they call back, we call drop, or something we call up, they call wall, or something, just to get all that ironed out and on defense. And then offensively, we're going to have to play a pretty light playbook when he's in there. Again, there's a lot of similarities to some things. He's a trailing big.
Right.
That's what he's been doing. That's how we play. There'll be some comfort level for him there. It's these situations. I've been in them 100 times, maybe 300-400 times where I've had a guy that hasn't practiced and plays. That's minor league basketball a little bit, and you got to know that, and you can't call. I just can't look over and call whatever I want. I gotta not call stuff or call simple stuff that I know he'll understand. That's a NBA play or an NBA terminology that we have that our other guys will know as well. So it shortens it down a little bit, but I don't worry about it too much.
He kind of smiled and said, "Oh, I got to learn the plays. They got a lot of plays." Like, do you tend to run more, you think, than a lot of other clubs?
I don't think so. No, I wouldn't think that if you looked at our playbook, like if you were an advanced scout, that you'd be, writing Nurse has this expansive playbook. I don't think so compared to other guys. We do have a lot of starts to our open, right? And there's a lot of wrinkles to those, right? Like one small action might have 6 wrinkles to it. So that probably I say anytime we run, our 70 action, it could be 72, 73, 74, 75, and then it could also be 72 flip, 72 curl, 72, there's all of a sudden one play looks like it's 5, but it's not really.
Do you lean on Sergio very much for Marc's skill set and what positions you can put him in?
Yeah, definitely Sergio's coached him a lot. A very close relationship with him. Helps, gives you a personal scouting report kind of on him, and again, I've seen him a lot too, Doug, internationally and obviously in the NBA. So I'm sure there's things we don't know about him because you never really know a guy till you get to coach him. But I think there's a pretty good framework of what we do know about him and how we can use him.
Would you coach against him in Britain when he was in
Spain? Yeah, a bunch of times. We played him in the Europeans. Twice, and we played him in the Olympics, and then we actually we went to Spain a couple times as friendlies and played him at least twice too.
You've seen his game evolve then over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Rather starkly, I would.
Yes.
He was never.
Yeah.
His body too.
Well, yeah, I remember. I remember like playing him one summer, and we were concerned about Powell, and we were barely talking about Mark. And then like the next summer, you were like, holy smokes, now what are we going to do with Mark? You know. So yeah, good point.
You got 26 games. I mean, is that enough to get done everything? Like, you don't have to hurry up anything or push the pace.
No, I don't think we have to hurry up anything. But I think again, as you guys know, I'm fairly experimental. I'm going to try. I probably will continue to experiment in a little quicker mode right now. Right, like I want to see. What certain coverages look like. I want to see what the blitzing looks like. I want to see what his low post defense looks like. I want to see maybe what the zone looks like a little bit more, because I could see us maybe using that. And then I want to add some things offensively that I think fit him, and will really add a big plus to our offense. I've already talked about that. I think he can get us going downhill more because he can relieve some pressure, but I don't know that for sure yet.
There's only a few games left until the All-Star break. Is it a bit
Yep.
of a laboratory experiment, and then maybe post the break come out with a bit more of a plan?
I'm kind of always in laboratory experiment mode, so I'll get to plan mode here at some point. But yeah, let's get through these next two, and then I'll think about it. How about that?
You mentioned the zone.
Yep.
In connection to Mark, how does he affect that? And what's been your motivation for going to it the few times you've used it already?
Yeah, I think he affects it. You know what I'm trying to do with it is a couple things. One is change rhythm of games. Two, usually it tends to limit pick and roll actions a little bit. And then kind of on top of that, to protect your bigs, you don't necessarily have to bring them up in the pick and rolls, right? So you're playing pick and rolls at the top with your zone, which is usually, your wings and your guards, which I like. That's part of the benefit of it. And I just think that again, like so many offenses in this league now, ours included, is 4 out. Drive and kick and spacing, and I think a lot of times you don't need to chase people all over the place where you could stay on the same side of the floor and see it in a zone. Now, zones take a great deal of communication and a lot of polish, right? And our zone has been outstanding for us this year. I mean, outstanding. It really has. Again, I don't know the exact numbers, but they're pretty darn good, right? So. I don't know. I see it as a chance to maybe, if we need to, certain games play bigger, right? And I see it as a chance to play a much more versatile offensive unit if the zone's clicking.
At one time, Kawhi said I think it was Kawhi said the zone forces communication.
Yes.
Do you see that?
Yes.
From close up.
Yes.
You don't see that.
Yeah. You can. Communication is. Lots of things, but what I do is see it. When I'm watching the film, I'm seeing guys pointing all over the place. You'll see 3 guys at one time using both fingers to point on the film sometimes, so they're communicating, right? So that's good.
With what you've seen from the zone, can you see expanding your use of it?
I can see possibly, since if it's experimental mode, I could see maybe changing the formation of it. Right, to give it 2 different looks, well, it's not rocket science, man. Right now we've started in a 3-2, right, and we might be able to go to a 2-3. we might. I don't know.
Does Mark's skill as a communicator?
I hope so. It should. I mean, from what we know about him, we think so. We think he's kind of a captain of the defense back there behind. Got to see and learn first, and see how it goes. Yep.
Could you already see? Mark's known as such a smart guy. I know he doesn't have the full playbook yet, but when you can go through a shoot around with him, put him in like certain positions on the court, could you already see that sort of brain working and how he might fit in here?
Yeah, well, I've just only talked to him, right? So I've only I can see it talking to him, right? I can see it talking to him, and you can see it when you watch him play, I think, too, right? You can see guys that know what they're doing out there, and he seems to know what he's doing.
How much does it help, aside from the playing basketball, to have someone like Sergio who knows Marc on a more personal level, to bring him in a group like this, especially we're 2 months from the playoff right now?
Yeah, you know what I think that does is cuts down the curve of, well, it maybe improves the curve of comfortability for Marc, right? I think it's instead of being in a totally foreign situation where you're trying to, what's your name again? assistant coach, and what's your name again? And he's got somebody that he can just, I can go have a coffee with him and bring the laptop and go through the stuff, and speak the same language, and all those things. So I think it helps out quite a bit.